Welcome to my journal. I decided on this VR format because it gives me near infinite creative power. Like for instance, bang, now you're on Mars. Okay, I'm going to move you back to Earth soon and we can get into the content. Week 1 really got me thinking about how modern inventions are often sidelined in traditional education. Take Minecraft's Build a World project. It teaches architecture, planning, design, but most schools never even mention it. VR, digital art, and similar creative tools are barely acknowledged, even though they're shaping how people think and create today. Our education system still heavily leans on STEM and standardized testing, which favors right or wrong answers. And as a result, arts and creative subjects are often overlooked, and therefore we don't really capture our students' full potential. We also explored biomimicry, which was fascinating, like how oysters, for example, can help naturally prevent pipe clogging using their proteins to stop carbon buildup, a problem humans have been trying to solve for decades. And lobsters, they basically don't age because their cells divide without shortening chromosomes. Nature has been innovating for centuries, and we could learn so much by just paying attention. Alright, welcome to week 2, and this one's all about the brain, which by the way, doesn't work in neat little sections like hearing or seeing. The whole thing's always working together, kind of like a massive orchestra with no conductor. We learned about how the brain can completely rewire itself. Blind people, for example, use mouth clicks to echolocate like a biological sonar. The brain adapts and literally remaps itself to make that possible. It even creates illusions, false realities to help us cope, like with PTSD and pain. That's where placebos come in. One study showed that people who didn't get real knee surgery actually healed better than those who did. Belief itself changes biology. Then there's the nocebo effect, the dark twin. A man was told he had cancer and died right on schedule, even though he actually didn't have cancer. The mind believed it so strongly, it made it real. Mirror neurons tie all this together. They fire when we act, or when we watch someone act. That's why seeing someone in pain makes us flinch, and why phantom limb pain can be treated by tricking the brain with a mirror box. So yeah, the brain's not a machine. It's chaos, creativity, and belief all wired together. Week 3 was all about how humans try to understand the world, through rationalism, materialism, and reductionism. Basically, we keep taking the world apart like an engine, hoping to find its purpose. The Greeks believed beauty was truth. The more perfect the proportions, the closer to the divine. Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man captured that idea, and centuries later, the Eiffel Tower became its modern version. Pure structure, no decoration, just steel and precision. Modernism turned progress into a kind of faith. Planes, light bulbs, and space travel weren't just inventions. They were steps towards perfection. But with mass production and science replacing old rituals, we also lost something. The uniqueness, the aura, and maybe even a bit of our humanity. Week 4 focused on how art doesn't just reflect reality, it creates it. Realistic paintings aren't really real at all. They're just clever tricks that make us believe they are. Cubism pushed this further, showing that what we see depends on how we see it, and the viewer becomes part of the artwork itself. Movements like Futurism and Bauhaus tried to rebuild the world through design, embracing machines, geometry, and progress as a new kind of faith. The Bauhaus symbol even echoes the Vitruvian Man, connecting modernism back to those ancient ideas of perfection. But the same machines that built the modern world also powered mechanized war. So while futurists praised destruction and speed, Dada artists rebelled, rejecting logic, order, and progress and returning to pure, absurd creativity. Week 5 explored how photography and film changed the way we see reality. Early photographers believed the camera was completely objective, a machine that could capture truth without emotion, but in a way that made reality seem flat. Cinema took that illusion even further. It only works because our eyes aren't perfect. We can't see the gaps between frames, so motion feels continuous, like a giant flipbook. Early filmmakers had to invent everything from scratch. Color was hand-painted, dialogue was read live, and even a simple train on a screen made audiences dive for cover. These early experiments showed that technology doesn't just record reality, it creates it, shaping what we believe to be real through light, motion, and imagination. Week 6 felt like jumping from logic to chaos. Literally, we looked at Turing's attempt to write math for life itself, how identical stem cells can somehow become skin, eyes, lungs, everything. It's wild to think he tried to turn biology into equations. The idea grew into this belief that the universe is a perfect machine, predictable, rule-bound, neat. But chaos theory shattered that. Even a system that follows rules can explode into unpredictability. That's where the butterfly effect flaps in. One tiny wing beat in Brazil, a storm in Texas. It reminded me of Buddhism too, the contrast between the calm, rational Western lens and the more spiritual Eastern one. Both chase order and chaos, just from opposite sides. Week 7 drove deeper into chaos theory, how nature hides structure inside disorder. We looked at starlings flocking in perfect unison, impossible to predict, yet following invisible rules. We looked at how the same fractal pattern appears everywhere, in our blood vessels, in coastlines, even in forests. The Greeks once believed geometry had to be perfect and heavenly, but fractals like the Mandelbrot set show that reality's perfection lives in imperfection, patterns repeating endlessly within themselves. Buslov's chemical reactions and Turing's morphogenesis experiments prove chaos has rhythm, repeating yet never identical. It's eerie and beautiful. Turing's story, ending tragically after his forced chemical treatment, adds a human layer to the science. Even today, computers evolve their own programs through digital natural selection. We're no longer just studying evolution, we're recreating it inside machines. In week 8, we explored sound as both a physical and spiritual force. In many traditions, silence and sound define each other. One cannot exist without the other. Chanting and meditation use vibration to quiet the mind, opening space for creativity and balance. The chakra system and Chinese acupuncture share a belief in internal energy flow. When disrupted, this imbalance can manifest as physical or emotional pain. Healing means restoring harmony to the entire system, not just one part. Sound becomes a carrier for consciousness, a bridge between the mind and the body. Listener participates in the sound, shaping its meaning. Finally, we looked at how Buddhist teachings were transmitted, not written by Buddha himself, but passed through guidance and relationships, teacher to student, echoing sound itself as a living transmission. Week 9 shifted focus to Eastern worldviews, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism, and how they fundamentally differ from Western thought. Instead of being linear, Hindu logic is cyclical. Life, death, and rebirth form an endless loop. Nothing truly disappears, everything transforms. That's reincarnation. Not mystical, but natural, like energy recycling through the universe. Karma works the same way, not as a reward or punishment, but as cause and effect, rippling endlessly through existence. When you act, you shape the system, and the system shapes you back. Nirvana means waking up, directly experiencing reality beyond illusion. Buddha isn't a person, but a state of awareness, the one who woke up. These ideas challenge Western notions like, I think, therefore I am, showing that consciousness isn't separate, but deeply connected to everything else. The last week tied everything together, showing that nature itself is the greatest designer. From wasp nests to coral reefs, the world has already solved problems we're still struggling with. Biomimicry asks, how would life solve this? The bullet train's nose was inspired by the kingfisher bird, cutting noise and saving energy. Shark skin patterns repel bacteria without chemicals, Desert beetles harvest fog into drinking water. Even seashells taught us how to prevent scaling in pipes. It's humbling, realizing that humans aren't inventing perfection, we're remembering it. The Tao teaches us to move with the flow, not against it. And Japanese ideas like kintsugi remind us that flaws make things more beautiful. The natural world isn't something we study, it's something we learn from. Every structure, every system is a quiet lesson in balance, resilience, and sustainability. And that's a wrap on my journal. Thanks for taking this journey with me through ideas, art, nature, and the mind. From wormholes to lakes, from starlings in the sky to the tiniest beetles in the desert, hopefully you can see what I've discovered. That creativity, technology, and nature are all connected, and that learning isn't just about memorizing facts, it's about exploring, observing, and seeing the world differently. In this VR space, we've bounced through time, across continents, and into the tiniest patterns of the universe. And the cool part, the adventure doesn't stop here. Every observation, every crack in a pot, every echo in a butterfly's wings is another chance to learn, wonder, and create. So keep looking, keep questioning, and remember, the world is teaching us constantly, we just have to pay attention.